People of the realm, the Battle of Bastards has been fought and won, and Team Starkling is victorious with a little help from their little friends, who I'm calling Gandalf. I did love the episode, there were excellent fight scenes, some really good progression, but today's video is more about a certain get out of jail free card and lazy writing, and of course, it's about those idiot Starks. Westerosi and Isosi. How many Starks does it take to make a decision that makes actual sense? And the answer is, there is no answer, as every Stark, half-Stark and their wolf makes utterly horrid and baffling choices. So let's start with our first idiot. I give you the wolf. As Jon and Sansa gather what little forces they can, they come to the realisation that they actually don't have enough men. Well, sod that, they think. They've got a giant and a direwolf, don't they? Don't they? Well, not so much, as Ghost is living up to his name and has actually disappeared on his jolly holidays again. This is quite funny considering that Ghost has spent more time guarding Jon when he's been dead than when he's actually been alive. Maybe he just figures, oh well, you know what, Jon's dead anyway, I'm a little bit tired of guarding him. Next up we've got Rickon. Oh Rickon, you should have been the king of the north, you should have made it to Skagos, you should have run in a bloody zigzag. Dear oh dear Rickon Stark, you utter idiot. After losing the power of speech or even grunting, Rickon decides that it would be best to go along with Ramsay's devious plan. Run along now, little Rickon, run to Jon like the fool you are. Take your time as well, and off Rickon trots, in a straight bloody line. Now, I've mentioned already that he could have quite easily run in zigzags, making Ramsay's shot all the more difficult. That would actually be an excellent idea. Ramsay may still have hit him because he's an excellent archer, but at least you're making him work for it. Now, how about this? If you don't run in a zigzag, what other possible way can you run, Rickon? Well, how about backwards? You can run backwards, you can see the arrows coming at you, you can attempt to dodge the arrows. No. Okay, well you've not thought about running any other way, Rickon. Okay, you're running straight to Jon, you can see Jon, you're running at him. You figure, oh hang on, I'm not running fast enough, what else could I possibly do? Well, there's these giant lumps of woods with burning men on it. How about I hide against one of them? Not too close, I don't want to burn myself alive, but that gives Jon the time he needs to trot on up on his horse, carry me on the back, and get the hell back to friendly forces. But no, any of these options would have been better than the one you chose. Only the old gods know what Maester Luwin was teaching you children up in Winterfell. Rest in peace, Rickon. I'll try to miss you, but just somehow I know I won't. Sansa. Well, firstly, Sansa is getting a little bit of a Cersei complex, especially during the War Council scene. She's thinking to herself that she has some thoughts, she has some insight on what Ramsay's trying to do and who he actually is. And then when she mentions this and Jon says, well, go on then, explain yourself, she pretty much goes on to say, I know nothing about battle plans, wink wink. Although I do have a secret army I'm not going to tell you about for no apparent reason, and this will inadvertently cause the death of the majority of your forces, Jon. Oh, and the best tip she can give is, don't do what Ramsay wants you to do. Cheers, Sansa. You're a font of knowledge, a fortune cookie from a shy, thank you for your input. The one sensible piece of information she did give, or advice should I say, is about Rickon. And it's kind of morbidly delivered. We're never getting Rickon back. Essentially, he's as good as dead. I don't have any solution for this, but I'm just gonna play with your mind, Jon Snow. So all in all, Sansa's an idiot. She then storms off, and you don't see her for the majority of the battle, only to come back with Gandalf the Grey and save the day. So she actually knew where the army was as well, where the Vale troops were stationed. Surely this information should have been given to formulate a better battle plan. So how about you spend less time stitching Stark sigils onto your dresses and more time being of actual use during the councils of war? That would be helpful. And finally we have Jon. Where do I begin with Jon Snow? Well, it's very clear that he still knows nothing. And since we've just discussed the War Council, let's continue from there. So, within the tent of the War Council, Jon is surrounded by his trusted advisors, his loyal council. We have Davos Seaworth, former hand to a king, Tormund, giant Spain, the husband to bears. Sansa Stark is also there, and some random guy. Where is Little Mormont? That's what I want to know. So amongst them, they have agreed a plan of attack, or in this case, a plan of defence. The Boltons must charge at the Starkland forces. The forces of Starks must be patient. They'll be digging some trenches on the flanks to avoid an envelopment. You know what I mean, a pincering. Oh bloody hell, you don't know what I mean. It stops their little horses from hitting us from the sides. I love that joke, it was so good. And we've also been advised about Rickon's imminent death. So knowing all of this, does Jon know what to do moving forward? Surely he knows I must stay with the plan, but sadly as soon as Rickon goes ahead and appears, Jon throws all of that out of the window and goes off charging alone to be a bloody hero. Now he fails in doing this. Rickon dies just before he reaches him, and then instead of turning around and heading back to his forces, Jon decides to do something very silly. He charges for a second time, this time directly at the enemy force alone. Now this forces his army to blindly chase after him, forcing them to lose any sort of advantage of a prepared position that they might have had. It's clear that Jon is suicidal. And last but not least, Winterfell was taken. Ramsay has just slain the last of the giants. Jon has archers poised to kill him, and Ramsay decides to chip on in about that single combat. He's actually gone ahead and changed his mind. Instead of ordering his troops to promptly pepper Ramsay with hundreds and thousands of arrows and kill the bastard, Jon then decides to drop his sword, picks up a shield that has a Stark logo on it, which couldn't be any bloody smaller, and promptly walks him down. All the while Ramsay is shooting arrows at him, and Jon is just raising his shield to protect himself. Now if I was Ramsay, I would have shot Jon in the bloody foot, or instead of shooting one in the head, I would have shot Jon when he was standing right bloody next to him. So, silly choices for a commander to make. All in all, I believe the Starks were lucky. They purposely did everything they could to lose this battle, and yet here they stand victorious. Jon has proven himself to be a liability when in command, so if he is truly the chosen one, the one there to see us through the dark times ahead, then I am slightly worried. Like I said at the start of this video, I loved the episodes. These are just the gripes I had about lazy writing when it came to the Starks in particular. Now, as usual, if you're enjoying the videos I am making, please support the channel. Likes will always help, and I love the comments you guys have been leaving. Good or bad, feedback is feedback, and like I always say, remember, you know nothing, and neither do I. I'm the Northlander, and I'll see you in the next one.